hey, like, we're just doing a cleanup. Anybody here, respond if you're still active, and if you're not active, like in 2 weeks, we're going to move you to emeritus, right? Or like a month or whatever. Like, I think I usually pick a longer time just so that we don't, somebody's on vacation or whatever, but.
Yeah. So welcome everybody to the Node.js team meeting. I need to remember to do not say working group anymore. So please add your name to the minutes. It's in the chat. So as usual, we go to the announcements and then we go to the regular agenda. We have a long list today. There are some tasks that are not in the list, but I will include it. So as usual, we go to the vulnerability review. I think we will need to close all the issues. There are one for OpenSSL that were included. Actually, there are more than one. There are 2 or 3 CVEs for OpenSSL that we will close. I will close it now.
Right. Yeah, I looked. That probably makes more sense. I looked at it yesterday and I added the tag that like was fixed, and because I couldn't remember if the tool closed them automatically or not. But
no, it doesn't.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I should have just. Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Those should all be closed.
Okay. And for LLHTTP, I'm not sure about that. Let me check.
There was some discussion about that one.
Okay, so, yeah, actually it's because we use LLHTTP6 on 16, and the GitHub advisory created in the affected versions 8.1.1. So we need to update the affected version because it is considering, like, for instance, LLHTTP version 6 to be affected by this vulnerability, but it's only LLTP 8.
Okay, so that's like an update of the CVE that the Node project
is not the CVE, is the GitHub advisory, so I think we need to do it in the LLHTTP repository. Let me check here.
Okay.
We have the security tab, advisories. It's not there, so I don't know where is it. Yeah, I will ping in the issue. I will ask Paulo. Did you where did you create it? There. We need to update it according to my comment. Awesome. Other than that, we have the recursive support to Node.js dependencies. Yeah, if someone wants to take a look on that, feel free. And we have the zlib on 16, but I'm pretty sure this was closed. Let me check. Yes, this do not affect Node.js.
Yeah.
But we have updated anyway.
Okay, so we've actually updated. So if we delete that, it should go away.
Actually, we haven't updated on 16 because at the moment we don't perform regular release on 16. So this patch was not cherry picked. So technically we can close, but it was not fixed.
Well, right, but I think we should leave this open while, like, the value of this repository is if somebody says, hey, it's being reported against this, they can come here and say, oh, we've said it doesn't affect it, so we should close. I think we need to wait till 16 goes end of life, and then we can close.
Let me check if We are using zlib 1.2.11, and yeah, that's the correct the version vulnerable. All right, that's good. Next one is the OpenSSF scorecard monitor review. I've been looking to it, and looks like the Node.js org decreased almost 2 points, so we need to understand why.
Yeah, let me share screen. So yeah, I think I have it kind of prepared, so you can see the scorecard issue. Okay. So yeah, that's because this is the new format also for the, because right now we are like taking all the organizations, so we just something that is bigger than 1 point we are checking out. So Node.js org in this case. So basically what happened is there are two things. One is like in terms of code review. So the scoring before was 8 point, now has been decreased to 5 point because there has been some unreviewed changes. I think so. That's something to check it out, because I think that happens also sometimes. If you remember with DT and Node.js, sometimes eventually that's when I think when we merge something that was not fully running the review. So when we're using one of the tools, I don't remember that one, but the critical one or the higher one is this one. So there's a change on one of the workflows that introduced the use of the base reference for the pull request, and actually we can see that on the workflow. So I think the idea is try to see how we can refactor it so it's not using this directly, or at least is using some other kind of validation, just to avoid the reference to be a dangerous workflow.
What's the
as far as I
problem
know.
with that one?
I think it's because it can act as a injection, probably. I didn't thought that it's going to be like that critical, but you know, as this is like it's taken directly like the base of the reference, maybe you can just use it as an injection.
Yeah, let's say that I fork the Node.js org, and I change the workflow and the data to I don't know, to run some malicious code, and then I open a pull request to Node.js org, and then it will get my reference, my fork, and run the code there.
Okay.
I mean, it will. I think it only has an effect if we are using a hosted runner, but since we are using a GitHub runner, that shouldn't be a problem unless we share some environment variables or sensitive information.
Yeah,
right.
Maybe
okay.
we can...
So basically, it allows you to run code that is not landed in the repo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
No, that's okay.
Yeah. It's a little bit tricky to exploit it, but yeah, it's true that.
But how can we solve that? Because looks like that's the intention of this workflow, right?
Yeah. Maybe we can put like a validation for this. So, for example, we can check like that the URL contains, for example, because that's going to be like the full URL, right? Like including the head and so on, or it's like just directly the reference.
Does the step security fix that?
That's a good one. Yeah, I can check it out. I have actually to run the step security against Node.js org, so I can check it out. But the worst case, I think maybe we can just mitigate it by doing something like has the URL include, the github.com/node.js/. So that way we know that it's a repo that we control at least, or something in that direction, right?
And
so at least we can mitigate it.
Recently added, I assume, right?
Yeah, it's in the last 2 weeks. That's
so
for
what
sure.
is it that's like that?
Yeah, we can check it out.
You can
sort of like
do a git blame.
Yeah, that's sort of I'm wondering why it was changed. And
yeah, I can talk with Claudia, I think, because this was today's 17th, so the last one was from the 3rd. So yeah, it can be one of those is the change that we are looking for. So yeah, definitely. I can check with Claudio, and I can see also if the step security provide a mitigation directly, so I can propose a pull request. And worst case, I can find a solution with Claudio. Yeah.
I have created a preview of the changes using step security.
That's cool.
Let me share my screen. Let me just check. I won't leak anything. Yeah, there is nothing to leak. Okay, share my screen. Okay.
Okay.
This is a read-only preview. Apparently, let me check. Create pull request. No.
Yeah, you have like a drop-down menu on the big blue button.
But I have used the preview changes, but
yeah, it should provide you like
maybe
an
it
URL or
created
something.
the mentioned me, no, just or
no, it's going to create like a pull request, but in a fork of the project. So yeah, that one, that's the link, like read-only preview. It's become like a link. Yeah.
All right. So we go to the pull request target.
Yep.
And
it's okay.
It changed.
It didn't change it, right? Okay. So yeah, I will check it out with Claudia and see what's going on that pull request.
It is only including the hardened runner, which I don't believe we should need. We need actually. And this one is the scorecards. And some configurations for pre-commit.
Yeah.
I need to check with.
Yeah, that's a good question also. If we want to include the hardened runner, which I think we include sometimes, things is we need to set up some rules. So for example, because right now, as it is by default, it's like try to get the logs of the URLs that you are targeting information from and to, so you can see what's going on in terms of firewall. But yeah, later on, the idea is to review that rules so you can get an idea of what is expected. So for example, imagine that you publish an NPM package. So for the first time, you run it openly. And then the second time you see like, oh, it's targeting this npm gs.com website and so on and so on and so on. And that's it. So you enable that rules. And later on, if something changes, it's going to fail. Because if by default, it's just only logging what's going on, with the idea that you give an extra step later. But if you have a lot of repositories, that become complicated because you need to, like, I think, put the rules per each of the hardened runners on each of the workflows rather than having like look, this is my general rule and just import it, But yeah, I can explore that if we're interested on the hardened runner in the long term.
Okay.
Or ask Ashish for support, which can be a good option as well. Okay,
so from the issue that it created, I will share my screen again because I think it's better to follow with someone, with everyone. We are looking to some repositories that is not active, that are not active, and we are not. Okay, this one is just to generate the LTS schedule. So why is it appearing here?
It has changed something, maybe because it's become less maintainable or something. If you click on the details, maybe it's just changing.
Okay, it appears only the ones that contains a delta.
Yeah. It's taking all the organization, and also this GitHub action is smart enough to detect new repositories automatically as well. So if you create a new repository or something, it's going to be added the next time. It's not going to be showing the differences because you don't have a previous delta, but the next time you run it, if there's something different, you will notice.
Okay.
So
we should be fine. All right.
Yep.
Maybe we can run step security for all the repositories.
Yeah, that's it. I have a pending task for that since the last meeting. But yeah, I didn't have the time yet, but I'm planning to do soon. So yeah, probably I go against all and I will try to fix it. Yeah.
Okay. Moving on.
Yep.
The next one is audit build process for dependencies. This just is still on the roadmap, but nobody. Actually, Marco was looking to it, right?
Yeah, I was investigating last week whether we could use GitHub workflow artifact repository kind of thing. I linked something on the Slack. So basically, you can store artifacts, binaries, whatever you created in a GitHub Action workflow into a space, and then you can retrieve it later. I was checking documentation to see if suitable, and also about the space that we would be occupying if it's something that we would it would work for us. So I'm just looking into that.
Okay. Next one, CII best practice. I remember that last meeting we have finalized the silver level.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, is currently waiting for TSC approval. I think you did a ping, if I remember well. Yeah, here it is on the last comment. So yeah, we have so far just one approval additionally. So if you can start approve it and so now, or we are happy to go ahead. So depends.
Yeah, I think if Michael approved that, I think we are good to go because we have pinged. I have mentioned it two weeks ago and.
Okay, yeah,
I think
and even it's a previous from mine as well. So yeah, I think
we can always revert change if we needed. So
yeah,
no,
100%. Okay, so in this case, I will merge it and then I will ask Rod for the update or to check if I can actually add myself to the list because yeah, there was a ticket for that, and I will start preparing the comments for the gold level. I didn't start it yet, but I will start to. To prepare the discussion, and I will include also those questions that are not clear. I will provide also the context a little bit, so that way we can have it. And I will also invite Jordan for that meeting for the kickoff of this, at least offline, so he can provide us some feedback as well, maybe so we can just make it a little bit more efficient this time for this. But much less questions than before.
Yeah, but if I'm not mistaken, we started something on the gold level because I remember having looked through it. So it's not like 0%, right? Or
should not be 0% for sure. And there are some questions that here it should be like the old records. But now that we have the silver fulfilled, if there are some answers from the silver, I will port them here. So we already have some of them like pre-checked. So yeah, probably it's going to be much less that it seems. And definitely it's much less than the silver level in terms of questions, but more hard to answer. So yeah.
Looks like they are less technical and more governmental or organizational questions, right? Like two-factor authentications, or we should use Git. Okay.
Yeah,
some of them like those seem pretty straightforward, but the reproducible build is one I know we don't have.
We don't have.
There's some going on that front, but
so maybe if we manage to have like all the questions for the gold, okay, maybe we don't pass the silver because we don't know that until we update it. So yeah, maybe potentially we somehow failed. So yeah, let's see how it's going, and also for the silver because you cannot see in the questions which one are actually impacting fully in your score if you say unmeet or non-applicable. Depends a little bit. So yeah, let's see the final results.
Yeah, we should be good with that. Let's check. Well, moving on.
Yep.
Next item to the agenda is the permission model roadmap. A lot of things happening. We have Carlos that couldn't join today created a pull request to actually created a pull request and an issue, and this pull request basically is, let me check it here. Okay. It's here. he created a pull request that I have approved, but we need one more approval. Basically, we are changing the allow FS flags to, instead of accepting one, a lot of paths split by comma, we are accepting several allow FS flags. So we create an array instead of a long string, because there are some environments that they have actually all the environments accept comma as a valid path. So if we split by that, the users won't be able to use the permission model. So this is the pull request. Please review. I'm planning to land it between today and tomorrow, but we need one more approval. Otherwise, we need to wait 7 days, but we still already have 7 days. So yeah, that should be good to go. And also, he created another discussion that is reasonable to discuss a bit here. That is, how can we load the permission settings from config files? Currently, if you look to the experimental policy mechanism, if you pass a policy.json, it will read from this configuration file. And the intention is to have to use the same policy.json to load the node.js permission model. But he faced some issues or some design questions that we might want to answer today. So go ahead.
No, I had a look at this issue, and at the end of the day, I think the most reasonable of all ideas was to load it from policy.json, because I heard that like some ideas were to load it from package.json or other yeah. So I think this is the most simple that I've seen on this issue. But
how would you, for instance, if we don't use the policy mechanism, how you will pass the name of the policy.json?
We need a flag.
Yeah,
so I think
another flag, right?
Yeah.
So, but the problem is that we already have dash experimental permission. My suggestion is that this flag, instead of being a Boolean, we now accept a file. And if no file or no string is provided, we assume that as a true and keep the current behavior.
I think the problem is that then you can basically start to customize it with whatever file, with JSON file that you want.
Yeah, but
so
the policy, you can do the same. You can rename to any name, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's safe to assume that if you pass a custom JSON file, you will read from that. Otherwise, you will read from policy.json.
Yeah, my concern is, like, for instance, if you pass experimental policy and then you pass policy.json here, and then you pass experimental permission and you pass another file, another .json, how it's gonna work?
Yeah.
You know, so one of my suggestion was we create another flag. I mean, I don't like this design, honestly, but it's permission file, and we pass policy.json, and then whenever you pass experimental policy.
Yeah. That's what exactly I was thinking.
And then
so you have one flag that's in common between the two. So you just have like permission file that's shared between experimental policy and experimental permission. So you have just one file, and that's it for both.
Yeah, I think the only thing is that we need to keep the current behavior. Like, if the guy passed something here and this flag is not provided, it should work as expected. And if
yeah, why do we have to keep it? It's experimental. I think we can safely break it.
Not I'm not entirely sure about that, but even being experimental, people are using it in production. We know that we can, but we should not aim for that, like unless we are 100% sure that this is the best design. Otherwise, we will keep breaking people,
Yeah, I understand, but I think now, because policy was born when permission model was not a thing. Now that it's a thing, we can slightly change the implementation to have everything under control. Because if you start spreading configuration files, it's gonna be more a mess than already it is. And like even right now, there are too many config files.
Yeah. Another suggestion is, what about really accepting another file, adding the optional file to the experimental permission? And if the guy passes, if someone passes another JSON here, it will, for policy, it will read the policy. And for permission, it will read the permission. But if I pass policy.json here as well, it will be able to split both,
Yeah, that could work too.
I'm not sure about the best.
Yeah,
approach,
just
though.
not a big fan of having like hundreds of
Config files.
Yeah.
config files.
Yeah. But well, it won't be a lot, because if the user decides to use one, they can.
And if no file is passed, it will read automatically from policy JSON.
It will read from the allow, fs, read, and
Oh, okay. Yeah, good. That could be, without breaking policy JSON, could be a good thing.
Yep.
I'm still not happy with both approach, honestly. I think we might be missing something. And
it depends if we want to join policy and the permission model together into one. Okay, this is for security, and this is like the config file for security.
Yeah, this is the permission file, right?
Also policies for security.
Yeah, but the problem is, I'm wondering if why do we want a config file? Just to don't pass everything in the CLI?
Yeah, if you have complex.
But well, you don't need to have it if you, for instance, we are about to land the .env reader, right? Yep. And this will accept node options as well. So if you have a .env,
isn't that dangerous to have node options into .env?
No, because you can pass environment variables. No, it's the same. So if you pass here, allow fs read, and then you pass all the flags here, that should be the same as a file. And we don't need to have a config file specifically for that.
Yeah, but how the node process is gonna read from the .env file about it will start unsafely.
Okay. Yeah, it reads before the V8 initialization, so no permission model is available at the moment. So no checks or something. It happens the same if you pass the open SSL config and custom config to open SSL. So, well, technically, they can use just the .env that supports this, and that should be fine, right? Like, I'm just wondering if we want to have it, like we need to have it. Currently, I don't think we need. But in the future, we might want, but I'm not sure about the best approach. So there are two questions I will raise in the issue, and we can discuss asynchronously. Is the first one is like, we need that? If we need that, should we standardize it with a -- permission file, or it should be able to pass custom file names and someone and other things? Well, I'll leave it a comment there. and we can discuss it asynchronously. But I'm still not convinced we need it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have added it to the roadmap, but I'm still not sure.
How did other runtimes handle this? Like Dino
They don't
and
have
Bun?
config file. Bun
Okay.
don't have permission model, and Dino, I don't think. Let me check. Dino, how is called Dino permission settings file. Add permissions to config file. Good. Open issue. Oh, basically, this is the one that we are discussing
Same
now.
thing.
Okay, this is a good thing to read after for a reference.
Yeah.
It would work way better if we have a single file of settings of Node.js.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But since we read it from an M file, that shouldn't be a problem as well. So, okay, I will mention it. Where is the, okay. Okay, let's move it on. Other things for permission model, let me check if I have something else to share. I'm working, I mean, I said it several times, but I'm still working on the path resolve, but I had to stop because I need to create some talks for some upcoming conference, so I couldn't really keep going that. And there one discussion about, let's say that there are a malicious package that wants to read from a sensitive file. It gets blocked, but if this malicious package adds a try catch, the user would never know exactly the attempt of bypass the sensitive information. So one suggestion is to add diagnostic channel whenever a permission is denied. Well, that will be tricky because we check for a lot of files when we try to load a module, for instance. And we will need to add that log when we check using permission .has as well. So we just need to check the overhead. I don't think it will be a huge overhead, but we need to check the best way to do it. Okay. Next one, automate secret release process. I don't have updates on this. I have stopped my work because the OSSF funding has been improved. So we are still aligning with OpenJS Foundation to get someone to work on this. The next one, assessment. Okay, this one doesn't matter because it's the CAI currently. So that's it.
Basically, yeah.
That's it for the agenda. Does someone have anything else that want to talk or to share? Any ideas? After NodeConf, I guess I'll be working to open a new issue of new activities, new initiatives for 2024.
Yep.
So if you have an idea, feel free to open this issue first so we can discuss. Currently, we have only the audit build of dependencies for 2024, but new ideas are welcome. So
yeah, maybe there are some ideas that we discarded at the beginning of the year that we can try to accommodate for next year. So yeah, we
of
can do
course.
some rechecking. Yeah, and see if now they are trendy and possible to do.
That's a
good.
very good idea. Okay, so thank you for joining. See you in 2 weeks.